Welcome to our next Notion project. In this video, we're going to be creating a meeting notes database that you can use to organize and collect meeting notes from your different meetings, be it one-on-one meetings, team meetings, and so on. As always, you can download the template from the description down below, but I encourage you to follow along with me and to build this along with me so that you get some experience using Notion and building out databases. So to start off, we'll actually use the page that we created previously, which is the meeting notes page in our work section, and we'll just click into that. Now in here, we can directly create a database, which would be a table database in our case. So just click on this button. And now we get a new database. This is actually the first time that we create a database together. So now we'll see how it actually works. We can also set up a data source for this. So we could just use a different database as our data source, but we want to set up an original data source. So let's click on create new database over here. And now we get our new database. We'll call it meeting notes again. So this will again be our meeting notes database. And we'll add the icon back in, which will be this one over here. In the database, we'll need an additional view, which is going to be the calendar view, which we haven't talked about so far, but basically it just gives you a calendar and it allows you to organize your data on a calendar based on a date property. So that's something that we need in the table view as well. And as you see, it already added this to our table because it knows, or Notion knows, since we added a calendar, that we need to have a date property of some kind. So this was automatically added. Now, this is going to be the meeting name. That's correct. And for the tags, I'll instead rename this to type. So we'll have different meeting types. And every meeting will have one meeting type. So this could be one-on-one meeting, team meeting, or like quarterly retreat, things like this. Next, we'll make some adjustments to the date property because there are different ways of using dates and we don't want to have to add the date manually. So instead of using the date property, we will actually use something else, which will be the created time property. So this will be a date property that is basically populated with the creation date of the database entry. So you see the creation time for these is 6 p.m. or 6:08. And if I add a new one, it will be 6:11 p.m. So basically a bit later. And if I was going to add one in 1 minute, then it will be 1 minute later and so on. So basically it kind of adjusts this based on the time of the day we actually add this. Now to make our database more powerful, we're going to add templates for the different types of meetings that we will have. So that you can quickly use one of these templates in order to generate a page structure and to get started with the important work, which would be to do the actual meeting. So we'll do that right now. We'll go to the templates and we'll start adding templates. The first one is going to be the one-on-one template. So we'll call this one-on-one meeting and we'll give it an icon, which will just be this persona over here. And the type is going to be one-on-one. So this is something that we haven't created yet, but we will create this with the template so that it will automatically be set to this one-on-one meeting when it's created. Now in here, we want to add some basic structures. So we want to maybe say things to talk about. So this would be like to talk about. This would be what we actually want to talk about in the meeting. And I'll open this up as a new page because that's much easier. Maybe give this a background color again, maybe red. So this would be the first heading. Then we maybe want to have a second one and a third one. So this could be like the goals. So what do we expect as outcomes? And then we can have the outcomes. So what are we actually taking away from the meeting? And now let's give this a bit of space, put a bullet list into each of these like that. And now we have a really basic template for a one-on-one meeting that we can use to get started. Again, you can make these as simple and as complex as you like. Just for demonstrational purposes, I'll keep it simple because we're going to create a couple of these, so it will take too long otherwise. So let's go back and let's actually add another template. And I'm going to use the quarterly retreat for this. So this is going to be like a quarterly thing that you can do with your company. So you wouldn't need this too often, but sometimes it might be useful. So in here, we might want to have a similar structure, but instead of talking about like the things we want to talk about, let's have a section on what has changed. So basically you can discuss what has changed with the company in the last 3 months. Maybe you can also have a goals section in here where we talk about, the goals for the coming months. And let's actually duplicate this again because it's just easier. And we will turn this into a new team members introduction. So this will be new team members have the ability to introduce themselves, and this will be one of the sections of this meeting. So again, do it however you like, but this is just how I'm going to do it for this demo. And now we have, a basic structure for this in place as well. Now the last one, I'm actually not going to show you all of it. Oh, and we forgot the icon. Let's actually change that. Let's go into the retreat. And do you have like a palm? Yeah, perfect. Do it like that. For the third type, I'm going to add a weekly stand-up meeting type as well. I'm just going to fast forward because it's going to be the exactly same thing as we did previously. And so I don't want to bore you. So let's see each other at the end. All right, so now we got all the 3 templates set up. And now we can start to use this database how we would like to use it. So basically, I can add a new entry in here. I can open this up. I can choose what type of meeting I have. Let's say I'm on the quarterly retreat right now. And so you see how the type automatically gets assigned. The date automatically gets assigned because that's just the creation date of this entry. And we see this template all with the icon and all the other content that we defined. So we could say quarterly retreat 2022. Q4, I don't know, something like this. And now add this, and then we could also add another one, and so on and so forth. Now the calendar view is actually there to help you visualize when these meetings are and when they were. So basically here you see that because I created this today, you see it over here. This is the quarterly retreat I just created. And I could also say I want to actually add the properties. So maybe I want to add the type in here as well. And so you see now we have both the title and the type in this view. So just to demonstrate this, I actually created a couple of additional meetings in here. And now you see that they all also appear inside of our calendar. And again, if I were to create one of these meetings tomorrow, then they would show up on the next day. So this is a great, nice way of visualizing when you have your meetings. And also to keep track of different meeting types, to have the same structure for every meeting so that you don't, do something else every time. Because again, consistency is one of the best things that you can do when it comes to organization and productivity. It just helps you out so much. So I really recommend using Notion databases and Notion database templates in particular for many of the things, if not all of the things you do inside of Notion. And that's it already for this project. If you had any troubles finishing it, then please let me know in the Q&A section, or have a look at the template that I provided for you in the description down below to compare to your solution. And otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.